welcome back. This is Meet the Experts. I'm your host, Casey Pacheco, and I am so happy to have you here. Today, we have a special guest, Kimberly Moore. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. And today, you have been you're not just you were a viewer for so long. And I'm like, I have to have you on because you have such valuable insights and you're a passion and an advocate for nurses. So thank you for being here. Now, I got some rapid fire questions for you. Are you
Okay.
ready?
All right, girl.
Okay.
Let's
So
go.
you've been in healthcare for 40 years. What advice would you give to your younger self just entering the healthcare profession?
I would say, most of all, give yourself grace. Give
Mm,
yourself time to acclimate to whatever initiatives that you found, and just keep learning, keep asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think so many people think that, oh, if I ask questions, they're going to think that I'm dumb and I don't know what I'm doing. And it's not like that at all. It's not like that at all, because knowledge is power, right? And
mm-hmm.
if there's something you don't know what you don't know, right?
It's
So it's being curious all the time, and asking those tough questions, and not being afraid to raise your hand, because we all started somewhere, right? We didn't start at the top. We didn't come in knowing tons of information other than what we learned in school. So yeah, be inquisitive, be curious, ask questions. Don't be afraid.
I love it. I love it. Now, what is one skill you believe all nurses should learn in nursing school, but often don't?
Emotional intelligence,
Okay.
absolutely.
How would you define emotional intelligence? Just for the viewers.
I would define emotional intelligence as just knowing knowing how to talk to people, how to listen to people, because there's think of all the emotions that are happening, that are going on, whether it be during patient care or it be during a conversation with um, one of your colleagues. There's so much that we don't learn in nursing school, and we have to kind of learn ourselves. But it's that passion and being able to empathize with other people. And in nursing, I feel you're bringing your heart to the table. I feel like some people are in it for the wrong reasons. They think, oh, I'm going to have a job forever. This is going to be a great paycheck. But as we know, nursing is coming to it for your own self, and for others. And, having, because nurses we work in such a high stressful environment most times, and we need to be able to, how do I want to say this? Let's see. We need to be able to set boundaries. Boundaries are not bad things. You have to be able to know what you can do and what you can't do. And it just creates a stronger environment and a stronger team collaboration, I believe, if you have those boundaries. So we want it to be safe for ourselves, but also safe for the patients. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Boundaries. Very, very powerful. How have you balanced caring for yourself while growing as a mom and as a nurse?
Okay. So I have learned along the way that taking that time for myself is much needed, because you can't be there for everybody, and we're, as nurses, we're people pleasers all the
Yeah.
time, right? We're always wanting to please everybody, take care of everybody, but it's that time that we have to take for ourselves. So for me, it's going to workout classes. I love to go work out, and it just helps me clear my mind, and get a whole feeling of everything. So when I come back home, and it's like about, now I feel better. Now
Yeah.
I've got all of that clutter. Right?
Yes. What kind of workout do you do?
So I used to teach Zumba, so I love Zumba. And I always feel, if you love dancing, you will love Zumba, because you're having so much fun. You don't even realize you're working out until you try to get up the next day.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
and you've done like 500 squats that whole time and you didn't even realize it.
You didn't notice. You were just listening to the music.
Yes, yes, and you just let it free your soul. I mean, for me, it just frees my soul, and I just have so much fun doing it. And again, then you feel like you're checked back in when you come back home, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
it's true. That is very true. I
yes,
love it.
yes. Say find time for yourself. Always take time for yourself. You have to take time for yourself for sure, for
Now,
sure.
you, how do you not have guilt? Because a lot of nurses have guilt around taking time for themselves.
Oh my goodness, of course we feel guilty. We feel guilty for we're gone all this time at work and then we come home and it's like how do you fit that time in for yourself? Especially working 12-hour shifts.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always have that time. Usually when we get home it's homework or it used to be for me, my kids are grown now. But for those that are coming home to their kids and whatnot, it's homework, it's time for dinner, it's events, it's sports, it's activities, it's things like that. So of course we always feel guilty because there's just not enough hours in the day. It just
Mm-hmm.
seems like there's not enough hours in the day. But we have to take that time for ourselves, even if it's just 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes of I just need some time on myself for a minute. For me, it was always the ride home from work. Windows down, the roof open, and the radio on as loud as it would go.
Yes, yes, yes. I
So it
love.
was, yeah, that time of just taking a big deep breath and just taking that time. And then you come home and then you're like, all right, let's go. What do we do? At least
Love
that's how I. Let's go.
I love it. I love it. I think you have so much good advice for nurses. What's your best advice for nurses to protect themselves emotionally in such a demanding field? You talk about emotional intelligence, you talk about taking time for yourself, but how do you protect yourself emotionally as a nurse?
Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up because you're not only advocating for yourself, you're also advocating for your patients, and our patients need us.
Hmm.
So, so many people are afraid of, they feel like they have to shrink or they can't say something that needs to be said. But if you see something that's not right, speak up, talk about it. If it's even just something within your team or within your environment that, let's say bullying for instance, if you see that something is happening and someone is being picked on, address it. I've
Mm-hmm.
always said we are all grown, and most primarily nursing is women,
Mm,
and I always felt it was high school and scrubs. So there is always a bully, right?
yeah.
So it's again speaking up and protecting people. It's sad that we have to do that in nursing, but we do. We
Mm-hmm.
do. There's always that one person, and there's always the cliques. There's always the cliques in nursing, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
why.
There is always clicks, right? No matter where you go. I was thinking of the nurse who's looking at this and saying, but I have spoken up, or people who speak up, they get silenced or they get punitive action against them, or they don't like when I speak up. They feel threatened. What advice would you give to these nurses who are thinking of this?
I've been in that situation where speaking up cost me my job. So I
Mm,
think that's where I've gotten to where I have to keep speaking up and I have to encourage others to speak up. Is it scary? Oh my God, yes. It's always scary. But doing the right thing sometimes can be scary.
mhm.
Think about that ripple effect and how it affects other people. By you speaking up because everyone else was silent didn't make a change. Is it going to change things for the better? And I think that we have to know for ourselves that it's okay to talk about things. And if you have a manager, you have a leader that's not listening to you, then go up the chain. Because it's about protecting our patients, but also protecting ourselves. We have to save our souls. We have to protect ourselves to
Yeah.
be able to give good care, right? If we're in an environment that doesn't feel safe, then what are we doing there? What are we doing there? And I feel that falls on leadership. I feel that leadership should have an open door policy, and you should be able to talk to them, and you should be able to bring things to them without getting chastised for it, or being afraid of losing your job. And I feel that there's so much fear in healthcare. There's so much fear that if I say the wrong thing, or if I do the wrong thing or the right thing for the right reason, I'm
Yes.
going to be in trouble.
Yes, yes. And you think about it's a real thing, especially if you have a nurse, if you have a nurse who's a single parent and they're really relying on the income from their job. Sometimes it's easier to put your head down and not make waves because you need that income. So talking about, just really having a real conversation, what people go through, it's nice to say speak up, but when you need that paycheck and you're like, things, you look at the economy now, people are strapped, things are expensive.
Yeah.
What are some practical advice after 40 years as a nurse would you give in terms of finances? Because if a nurse has some kind of financial literacy or savvy, then when they find themselves in these tough situations where they may go a month or two without a job, what have you seen are some key or important things that nurses can do so that they can be in a position to speak up or to leave a job, whatever?
Right, right. So I feel that most employers have great financial advisors because there is access to 401ks and IRAs, those kinds of things. But it's always trying to put a little bit of cushion into a savings, just put a little bit aside just because life happens all the time. Life happens. So most places will have the opportunity, they offer you the tools to meet with a financial advisor. And most everyone knows someone who has a financial advisor. So have those conversations and don't feel embarrassed because you don't have $1 million in an account or something for someone to help you with. Like, realistically, how many of us have $5,000 in an account, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So those tools are out there, and most family members, most of our friends have someone who is guiding them. So
Hmm.
just don't be afraid to ask, reach out and be like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, or how do I go about this? And I have found also on LinkedIn, there are so many people that offer these services. So just start networking, start connecting, start asking questions, start following those types of organizations, and the tools are there. You just have to find them. Just seek them out. They're there for you. They're there for you for sure.
Absolutely. I literally just did a class on finances, and most of the nurses said they didn't even ask. They don't even use the 401k or the tools at work because we get so busy taking care of others, we forget about
Yep.
exploring these things. But you're right, they are there.
They are absolutely there. Yep. Yep. So don't be afraid to ask. And if you find one that's like, this is not a good fit for me, or just I'm not liking this guy. He doesn't give me a good vibe. I'm all about the vibe. You got to make me feel special.
Yes, no, it's true.
Right? Right? Because some people are so doggone analytical and just so, no, let's have fun with this, okay? This is my money. I'm asking for help. Let's have fun with this. Don't
I,
chastise me because I want to go on a cruise.
yes, yes. It has to align. It has to align with where you want to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Now, nursing is such a compliance driven profession. How do you think nurses can remain authentic and visible instead of shrinking into invisibility?
Invisibility. I always say just be yourself.
Mhm,
Always be authentically, unapologetically yourself.
mhm,
First and foremost, we tend to wear so many hats and so many masks in nursing, right? We show up as this person, and then something happens with that patient, and say it was something tragic, whatever, and like having to go to the next room, and what do? We set that mask down, we put another one on, and we
mhm,
move to the next room.
mhm,
So I feel that when me. So when we're trying to be authentic and just be ourselves, it's okay to ask for help.
mhm.
It's okay to take that 5 minutes, wherever it may be, the bathroom, the supply closet, as we talk about so much,
Yes, yes.
as we talk about those things, to just take a minute. Just take a minute. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be like, hey, can you go see this patient right now? I just need a minute. I just need a minute. Because you have to be able to check back in. If you're checked out, you can't provide the care that that person needs. You can't be the person that you need to be. And again, it comes back to that people pleasing again and trying to be perfect in everything that we do. And we just can't. And I feel that sometimes burnout is inevitable in that way because we
Mhm.
tend to we tend to just bottle everything up. Everything gets bottled and we feel that we're less than if we ask for help. And
Mm,
I want people to know that you're not.
mm,
It's okay to ask and it's okay to raise your hand.
mm.
And there's so many support systems out there. And lean on your colleagues. We have a nurse family. I mean, I know when I worked in a specific department for over 20 years, it was a sisterhood. It was a sisterhood for sure.
Mm.
And we knew everything about each other and we knew when we were struggling. And there's not always those telltale signs of someone is struggling, but you know when something's a little off with somebody.
Mhm.
But I always say just be fully transparent and don't be afraid to show vulnerability. Don't be afraid to be like, again, I just need a minute. I just need a minute. It's okay to walk away for a minute. And it really is.
Mm.
And if it takes you longer than a minute to bring yourself together, ask for help. Ask for somebody, hey, can you go see this patient for just a minute for me? Can you just go tell so and so, I'm just going to be a minute. I have to do this. I haven't forgot them, and I'll be there. Sometimes just saying that out loud, it's like,
Sure.
I feel better. Okay, I got this. I got this. I'm in. I'm back in. Put me in,
Yeah.
coach. I got this. Right?
You're right. You are right. It's so true. And sometimes we have so much, but we don't verbalize it. We don't ask other people. If someone asks us, we're like, yeah, but we don't take the initiative to ask. You're right. Hmm.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you, what's one powerful piece of advice for nurses to stop, because your name is unapologetically you. So how can nurses stop apologizing and confidently enforce boundaries without losing who they are?
Always know your worth. Always know who you are as a human being. Always be a human being first and foremost. And always remember that, there's so many um, that feel that they have to be someone that they're not to fit in. They have to do something that they're not to fit in or to belong. Because face it, everybody wants to belong. Everybody wants to fit in. So I feel that when you're pretending or you put on this facade about yourself, just exactly how long can you carry that? How long can you do that? So when you are just who you are, how you are, unapologetically, and again, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. It's okay. It's okay. I'm comfortable with that. But just to be yourself and to put yourself and to put yourself first, but always to know your worth and to know that you are worthy of the role and the position that you're in, and that you have so much to bring to the table. We as nurses have so much to offer. There's so much that we can do for one another and supporting one another and giving others the courage to speak up. Because again, so many are so afraid to say anything. And I see that all the time. And I don't want people to live in that fear. If, again,
Mhm.
if it's finding that other colleague and talking to them and having those tough conversations, because every conversation is not easy, right? We all have these things like, oh God, I have to go talk to so and so, right? Oh
Yeah.
Lord, God help me now, please. Jesus, take the wheel because I don't know how to go about this today, right? It's like, oh Lord. It's okay. If that's the only person that's listening to you, you can have a really depth in conversation with God too.
It's true.
I,
It's true.
I always joke, I always say he's on speed dial, and I think he sends me to voicemail most generally, most of the time. He's like, oh God, it's her again.
I'm sure not. But I wanted to flesh out something that you said because sometimes we can say things and what happens is that they become cliche. And when we say, know your worth, right? So you're telling someone who doesn't think they have much worth, or you think they're in the nursing profession and they think their worth is measured by their skills. So maybe they're like, I suck at IVs, or, it takes me forever to chart. And then they're thinking, I'm a bad nurse, or I'm not very competent at my job. And so sometimes we say know your worth, and if someone doesn't have a baseline of their worth or what you're talking about, it could kind of go over their heads. So I wanted you to expand on that a little bit.
I think it comes right back maybe to our why. Why did you get into this profession in the beginning, and why do you show up every day? Right? So if you can take, and I found that a lot of times with my coaching, if I can bring people back to their why,
Mhm.
and even them just expressing to me and telling me their why, they have a whole different mindset. It's like you have peeled back a layer that they didn't even know they had anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like an epiphany. They've had an epiphany, and I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
wow, thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
for just reminding me of why I'm doing this,
That's
why
true.
I chose this profession, and why I'm staying in this profession. I think so many of the times, and again, with my experience, has been that. And then if they have a question or they're struggling with something, it again is raise your hand. Go
Yeah.
find somebody who's really good at you. Let them learn a little bit. Take
Yeah.
in their insights. Ask questions. Be curious. Don't be afraid that you're going to get it wrong or you're not going to do it right the first time. My
Yeah.
God, I became so skilled in IVs, but it was practice, practice, and following other people and taking in their experience and just absorbing everything like a sponge. You
Yeah.
know, everything. And charting. Oh God, don't even get me started on charting. God, we know there's way too many clicks and way too many drop down boxes.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I wanted to piggyback on this because it's just coming through really strongly for me. But
Ooh,
making sure that people are in places that amplify their value, their inherent value. Because as nurses, we're, we are all trained in certain skills, but then we also have inherent skills or inherent abilities or gifts or talents that really match up well, and knowing what those are, or discovering them and finding work that aligns with them, it really helps boost your self-worth as a nurse.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And it's, everybody's like, oh, I really want to go into, like, I just had a client recently. She really wants to go into labor and delivery. And she's having, because she's a new grad, she's having a really hard time finding placement because you don't just go right into labor and delivery being a new grad. So it's having that conversation that, okay, take a deep breath,
Mhm.
apply, find something that's open.
Mhm.
It may not be your first choice because, like, when I went into labor and delivery to get into the job and get into the hospital, I had to go into med surg, and not everyone loves med surg. This girl, no, no, was not happy about it at all. But I thought, you know what? This is just a stepping stone. This gets me in the door. This gets me learning. This gets me utilizing my skills and learning new skills. And who knows, this time where I think if this is going to be, oh God, this is going to be a horrible experience. I don't want to do this. You're getting out of bed and you're dreading going to work every day. And you're like, oh God. But I'll tell you what, I learned so much because I had to do it for 6 months. I
Okay.
learned so much from that time there because it wasn't something that I truly wanted to do. But
Mhm.
the skill set that I learned from those nurses there and the different types of patients that I experienced there, it gave me such a whole different perspective on what I thought med surg was going to be.
Yes.
I think, yeah, so I think that when we're starting out and we're trying to get into these specific areas, or we have this love for one certain area,
Mhm.
especially just starting out, it's those stepping stones. Take them absolutely with grace and be grateful for everything that you took away from that experience, because it's only going to make you a better nurse. And you might find that, wow, I didn't think I was going to like this. I love this. How many times have you, right?
It's true. It's true. That was my experience because everybody I med surg was one of the last places I worked, and I really loved it. And people say, "No, don't do it." So I did all specialty, and then I was like, "Oh, I really love med surg," you know. So you were right. You're right. Give it a try. Right?
You give it a try. Yeah, just get out there, get your feet wet, learn something. If anything, you're going to learn something.
Yes. So
To learn something new, and you'll carry it forward, and you'll be able to utilize it down the road. Or something, you'll be in a certain situation and something will happen and you're like, oh, I know how they did this. I worked in that unit for such and such an amount of time.
it's
And
true.
someone taught me how to do it this way. Look, let's do it this way. And it's like, whoa, he,
Yes.
it wasn't such a waste of time after all. So
There you go. There you go. So, Kim, if you had to talk to 100 nurse leaders and you had to give them, and if you could share just one impactful message with them, what would that be?
I would say to don't be afraid to show vulnerability. You are a human being. Don't be afraid to be the one that gets down into the trenches with the girls or with the staff. Get down into those trenches. Get to know your staff. Know them from the inside out. Know that what makes them tick. What areas, if they're in something and they're struggling with it, but they're so good at something else, boom, make that your advantage. Take that to your advantage to where this person excels at this, but not so much this. Let's put her there. Have
Mm-hmm.
those conversations with your staff and have that open door policy. Always, I feel that some leadership that I've witnessed, it's like, yeah, you're like dreading to go talk to them, and it never should be that way. If ever someone is saying, "Ooh, I don't feel like I can talk to her," and what do? We can, I'm ready to have that conversation. You don't want to be that type of leader. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what people are saying or what you're hearing, or you don't feel like people are, hi, I have a question. Can I come talk to you? If you're not seeing that, then there's something that's not right. So if I could say anything, it would be open door policy. Have your people be able to talk to you. Get out there, get in the trenches. Don't just sit behind a desk all day. Don't just make it about policies and metrics. Make it about the person. Make it about the human being. And I think we've lost that so much, and with everything that's going on. And I know it's not always possible to get down in the trenches with people just because you have so much on your plate already. But take 5 minutes, just rounding, just taking that time to round and saying, hey, how is everybody today? Does anybody need anything? Is there anything I can do for anybody today? It could be just as simple as something's broke and it's been broke for weeks and you're stealing from this other unit to get something. Hey, let's fix that. You shouldn't have to struggle today. Let's fix that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's getting down in those trenches. It's getting to know your staff, that they're not just numbers on a list. They are people. So getting to know your staff, getting out there, making yourself present. That's probably one of the biggest things I did in my leadership role was I showed presence. And they loved that more than anything. And if they were drowning, I jumped in and I helped. Jump in and help. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. So that's kind of what I would say to leadership. Get in the trenches, make yourself known, show your presence, help the team out because we all are a team. And it takes the team, it takes a village.
Now you have such great experience over 4 decades in nursing career. Now I have to ask you, what do you think is the biggest mindset shift that helped you not just to survive, but thrive in this field for so
Awesome.
long.
Not only just all figured out for you and come up with all these great answers for all of this. I'm thinking, wow, now maybe I need to change that. Hmm. I guess the biggest mind shift for me is not always having to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to be perfect all the time. It's okay. We're gonna stumble. We're gonna fall. It's okay.
Mhm.
And learning from those I don't want to call them failures. We'll just call them losses. We'll just say, yeah, this is that happened. Yeah, that was so 5 minutes ago. I am done with that. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. Everything is not going to be perfect all the time. So I think shifting that mindset that you have to be this perfect nurse all the time, have this perfect smile all the time,
Mhm.
and never make mistakes. And I think that that's probably the biggest thing because I am such a perfectionist in everything I do. And I feel that if others can kind of too make that understanding with themselves, and it's okay, take grace for yourself. Celebrate the wins, even celebrate the losses because you learn from those things. You learn from all of that. So
Yeah.
don't ever sometimes because our role is what? People pleasing all the time. We're always about taking care of everybody, and how often do we take care of ourselves? So I would say shifting that mindset, and taking and setting boundaries for yourself and giving yourself time, giving yourself grace, and thanking yourself. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for everything you did today. See, I just thanked myself for everything I just did today.
Yes, and you did a lot because you shared so much good advice. And I think you're someone who you not just share your advice, but as a nurse, and now you're in the entrepreneur world, you actually are embodying your advice. And one way that you have embodied it is actually your book that you created, The Healthcare Mafia, A Nurse's Testament. As a nurse who've been through the pandemic, many nurses um, it was a period of time where you reflected actually on your stories and shared it. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about the book?
Yes, so the book is The Healthcare Mafia Nurses Testament. Let's see if I can drag it out for you. There's the
There
book.
you go.
So it's 48 chapters. It's the span of the last 4 years going through the pandemic and getting COVID, being exposed to COVID, having long COVID. But everything that we experienced in the trenches and the things that were happening. And Ashley Scott, the poetry disruptor, God love her. So 3 chapters long, and she wrote 10 specific poems for 10 of those chapters. Amazing. Amazing. So if you've suffered burnout, if you've suffered betrayal, if you have felt like you've been dismissed, or you just don't know how to navigate anymore, the book is for you. So it's not only for nurses, it's for healthcare professionals, it's for anybody that is even has a loved one who's a healthcare professional. Just to kind of understand a little bit of what it is that we deal with on a daily basis. That again, there goes that mask again. Walk out the house, walk out whatever we're doing. New mask goes on to come home and to be someone else completely different because we again bottle all of that stuff up. So it's just a story of all of that, and there was so much suicide and so much death, and colleagues and that around us. So it does talk a lot about all of those experiences. And I have also put in the very back all sorts of resources for anybody and global resources as well, not just in the U.S. So if you're in the UK, if you're in Australia, if you're in Nigeria, Africa, wherever, there is suicide lines, there's help, there's financial, services. I just put a whole bunch. I tried to pour everything I could into this book to be so helpful for others and for those that went through the pandemic and who lost people and the things that we suffered and went through as well. So get out there, buy it. It's on Amazon.
And Kim, I am so grateful for you and being in the profession. You're such an angel. You're a
Oh,
wonderful writer, so I'm glad that you wrote a book. And
thank
Ashley is just a beautiful person. So I'm sure that poetry is really heartfelt for the nurses who resonate with the experiences of being through the pandemic. I want to thank you so much for coming on, being an expert in your own right, in your own way, pouring back into this nursing profession. Thank you for all that you do.
you. So sweet. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
You are just such a valuable person, and this is why this platform is here, to make valuable people visible. And so for our audience who's listening, I asked Kim all of my questions. Do you have any questions for Kim? Please leave it in the comments. She will be sure to answer it. We will love to connect with you. If you're not yet connected to Kim on LinkedIn, please take the time to connect with her. And if you're watching this on the replay or you find it hard to find it, it's going to be on my YouTube channel called The Spark is Love. Please support me and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. So
I
I
will
think,
subscribe, girl. I'll find you. I got it. I'll subscribe. I'll like.
thank you so much, Kim. Thank you,
Oh,
audience, for joining us today. And we
thank
will see
you.
you next week on Meet the Experts.
Thank you so much, so much. Thank you for letting me be here and having this wonderful conversation with you. And I look forward to more in the future.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes, you will be back.
Awesome. Thank you. Mwah.